Hi, my name is Suzanne Worrell. This is the video for the presidential primaries and how we choose a candidate. One of the questions was comment on the system of choosing candidates for the parties. I don't know that the primaries seem very overly complicated to me. Average citizens, even well-educated citizens, I think find it very intimidating and very hard to understand what the primaries actually do. And a lot of times feel maybe that they've already been chosen, so why bother to go out to the primaries, and why be part of that process. Although I agree with Professor Ladd in her notes that I do think it's a very important part, but I do think it gets overlooked because it is so complicated, and I don't necessarily think it's fair the way the candidates are chosen. I think that people who are well connected are chosen. I think people who have a lot of money are chosen. I think if you don't have either one of those, I think that you tend to get bypassed. And I think that can leave out some really great presidential candidates. I don't think that the primaries are a great way to choose candidates, and nor do I think that the way we choose our candidates really shows who's going to do a good job. I think the way we choose candidates, you have to be charming, and I don't necessarily think charming is a top quality, one of the top qualities in a presidential candidate. I think, they have to have other skills. I do think it would be interesting to have it where, they have like a resume style and they have to write like a job interview, that they have to write, create basically what they believe in one paragraph, kind of like we do for class. And we can look at that and look at their resume and determine from that. I think that personality tends to win, and while I think that's important, I don't think it's everything. I also think that the media plays a huge role in how we choose our candidates. I do think that, the more the media covers certain candidates, for instance, Donald Trump, his reality star status turned presidential candidate really helped him because people were making jokes. He was on the late night talk shows, of course. Like I heard a joke from that was a video from one of the late night comedians that was being passed around via Facebook, and I go, no way is Donald Trump running. Then you go look, and then you look and you go, I wonder what he stands for. So then you go and you read about what he stands for, and you wonder, and you really get to know. You tend to look at what he believes, and then you start picking it apart and kind of saying, do I believe this, and do I agree with that? And I think that gives him a leg up to other candidates. Candidates that I wouldn't normally choose and look up and be interested in, especially if it wasn't for this class. So I do think that gives him an edge that the other candidates don't necessarily have, because he's also reaching an audience that, the other candidates aren't going to reach as easily. The second part of the assignment was about the Electoral College. When I first started looking up about the Electoral College, I didn't think it was such a great system. However, my opinion has changed. I do think that it helps equalize the smaller states out. It gives them a more of a weighted advantage, a fair weight, than the larger states. Take Maryland, for instance, who gets, you get an elector for every member of Congress. Maryland has of course, two senators, and they have 8 members in the House, so they get 10 electoral votes. So that kind of helps them because they are a smaller state. It does give them an equal weight in the presidential election. So if you live in Maryland, your vote counts just as much as if you live in Texas. However, I think if it was a popular vote, I don't know that those smaller states they would even bother with. I think that the way we do the electors, with the total of 538 electors, you have to win 270. I think that really kind of equalizes the votes out, where in a popular system that wouldn't necessarily happen. It was very interesting with this assignment, and I hope you like my video. Thanks.